So how do we access where we're going? We're looking at their mini unit on buying a car. They have a variety of them. I just cut off the top part of it, but you can see they even have one on racial discrimination within finance, which is fascinating. You have to be careful how you present it, but that's a whole nother training class that we ought to do, but it's a helpful one. To get there, you would go to their website, ngpf.org. Then you go to the curriculum dropdown, mini units, which is way over on the lower left, and then you click on buying a car. Okay. All right, within the buying a car mini unit, it has 5 lessons. It can be used standalone at any time in your teaching that you would like to put this unit in, and every single lesson within it is very customizable. So there's 5 lessons, or each one is about 45 minutes long. And here's the topics that we're going to go over. The first one is on choosing a car. The next one's the costs of owning a car, then buying new or used cars, leasing versus buying, and then sealing the deal. Because now that you've chosen it, let's close that deal. Okay. So let's look at the very first one, choosing a car. So after this unit, students will be able to identify factors to consider when looking for a car, which I really like the fact that they get them past the looking at just model, cool colors, stuff like that. They really take them deeper into thinking about it, about fuel efficiency and safety, low price, suitability for everyday use. How are you going to use the car? Trying to get the young gentlemen that want the truck to realize, ooh, you're trying to drive 50 miles a day, but you're not hauling anything. You probably don't want to pay that gas price of that truck. And looking at quality of cars and driving comfort, warranties. So it really helps them get out of what, just their first thoughts. It helps them compare different car types. Oops, go back the other way. So that they understand what they are and how would you compare them. And they help them understand the differences between popular car research websites and the different apps that are available. So this is a great opportunity for students who haven't been exposed to these things to see them and understand they're out there. And then to conduct research to find a few cars that are going to meet their needs. So it gives them an opportunity within your classroom to look at all those. Oh, there goes Amy going the wrong direction. Okay, we can go on to the next one. So what I tried to do with each one of these units is then give you some of my teacher tidbits, because I know when I look at a lesson for a unit of any type, it's like, great, that looks fantastic. But do I have to go through and teach it the first time to really recognize what parts I liked, what parts I didn't like? Now, again, this is personal to me and to my population, but I've tried to look at it from a wider lens too. But let's go through this. When it's talked about the most important factors of buying a car, they provide 2 different presentations, a chart that you can look at or an article. I found that it was really valuable to go through the chart and talk about what those were and really dive into what they meant individually and give examples, and then to get the kids to discuss. And they got into some great conversations. Well, I really don't care about the gas price or the fuel efficiency. And someone would say, well, how far do you drive? And they'd start calculating out the cost. Ooh, cost me $10 a day to drive back and forth. Well, maybe I do care about the gas efficiency. So they began to have some great conversations about what mattered. And I really like that. But I found, with my population, you give them an article, they skim it too quickly and they don't dive into, and they tend to, if you are reading new things, you tend to read either quickly because you don't understand it or through your lens. And what I really want by doing the classroom discussion on the different areas to think factors, you get them thinking outside of how they may view fuel efficiency or safety and things like that. They also have a slideshow on there on car types, and it describes the 10 common car types. It has a picture and describes how and what they might be used. I found that I skipped that part because I spent more time on the factors and talking about those and having kids vote on factors and come up with what we would do. I think they kind of knew the top 10 types. But if you were having a ELL class where they maybe don't know what the world does SUV stand for, or sedan, or truck, or hybrid, it'd be great for those classrooms. Again, or you had a special ed class that was pretty low. It was a great way for them to see because it has a picture of the car, has the description. So it was a great one if you needed it for SPED or ELL. But if you don't, if you have a pretty typical American classroom, I skipped it myself. Then the discussion on the top car buying websites and apps as a class. Boy, there was a wide range of experience in the class. Some had used them, some didn't even know they existed. And, they went everywhere from Carfax and Kelley Blue Book to just, the Carvana and some of those that I had never used Carvana, and kids taught me how to use it. So it was actually a really great way to get peers teaching peers because some had used them and knew how to use them. And so I just kind of opened it up and then guided the conversation. But I love it when peers teach peers. And then they ask questions of each other. So that one really did a great conversation on why we would use those. Then they end it with a Google slide activity called Finding Your Next Car. And that you're supposed to start it in the very first one and finish it in the very last one. I found it worked best to just skip it here and do it all at once in the last one. Because getting kids to stay just to do this little phase one and stop just didn't really work. So the second time I taught it, we didn't even open it up till the end because it kind of wrapped and brought it all together. Now you're going to choose it, you're going to do it. So again, you could pace it how you want, but I left that one until the very last. Any questions on any of these teacher tidbits? Is there anything in the chat? I don't have the chat open.
Nope, not yet.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't ignoring anyone.
No, not yet. Nope.
And please, anybody, I guess I should have said this at the very beginning. If you have a question and I'm talking right through you, feel free to unmute and interrupt me. Because really, this is our training. It's not for me to sit here and talk. That's the hard part that I find with Zoom presentations versus in person, where you can see someone's eye contact and know they want to talk. So please interrupt. Okay, thank you. The next unit they have is on the cost of owning a car. And in this one, students will be able to summarize the different costs associated with owning a car. This is always a huge eye opener. They go to car insurance and gas, and they forget about all the maintenance that keeps that car running. And so it really helps them with understanding all the different costs that are involved with it. From even having to pay parking fees. If you are used to riding the bus downtown and you suddenly decide you're going to drive your new cool car, you've got to pay parking for that car and things like that. So it was fascinating to help expose them to that. And then explain the different factors that affect car insurance rates. Now, this you could simplify a little bit because all of that's covered in insurance. But if you hadn't covered it there, or you want to wrap back around, it was a great way to do that. Understanding how depreciation affects a car's value over time. This is a really important one with car loans. And calculating the total cost of car ownership for a specific vehicle. Again, this one, is an eye opener. It just shocks them. How much is it really going to cost per month? It's not my $300 car payment. By the time they put gas and maintenance and insurance and parking and everything into it, they suddenly decide, oh, I don't think I want a car. Okay, next one.
We do have a question in the chat, and it is, do they need to build credit in context of these learning objectives, I think, or this lesson?
Yeah, no, we don't. We do talk a little bit about it. They have a lesson that's called comparing car loans, where you have good credit or bad credit. You buy the exact same car and you have three different people at different levels of credit. And you look at how the exact same car driving down the road costs those three people different amounts depending on their credit. So you could pull something like that into at this point, but they don't really bring that into at this point. When we get into the car loans, they don't bring that in here. They leave that in another section. Great question. All right, so the teacher tidbits on the unit, the number 2, this cost of owning. Again, the cost of owning a car, there's an article that they give you that's kind of bulleted out. I presented it on the overhead rather than giving it to the kids as an article to read. Next Gen, again, like I said, tries to put videos, tries to put reading activities. They really break it up so the kids are learning through different modalities. Being an alternative school, some of our kids, probably 50%, are not on grade level readers. And so because of it, I just automatically do most reading as a group, whole class. So I don't have to worry about different 504 accommodations. I just accommodate for everybody. And it leads to really good conversations. And then I know they're truly digesting the article, not just reading the article. Then we did play Will Their Auto Insurance Premium Change as a class with the teams challenging each other. We had covered car insurance in our insurance unit previously, but it was a great way to spiral back around because the game has different scenarios, and is that going to change their insurance or not? And so it was great watching them in their teams decide if they should move forward, not move forward, how they should react on that. So again, it was just a fun way for the kids to review what we'd learned on that.